Loadshedding will be back after the elections, most definitely.
When I spoke to a senior official 2-3 years ago, he'd said, Winston, you think it's bad now. Wait till we start having...
They've put out some communique that we're going to stage 16. They're basically prepping us, saying, guys,
if you let people's opinions shape how you feel about yourself, you're up a creek without a pedal. It's a problem.
Yeah, he's starting again. Bank account
Don't
holders
start
not
talking
allowed.
about bank accounts.
Sorry.
Too soon.
bro.
Not even a Capitec though, just checking. Can't even.
You know, it's actually quite funny. A few weeks ago, we had...
Where did it fall off for AGC when it came to that? Because
I think currently in politics, those are the two fundamental reasons that we are where we are.
do you think if Duduzane Zuma wasn't president of the AGC, AGC would be on the IEC voters list?
Most definitely, yes.
Do you think so?
I think so. I know so.
Duduzane, the Mohawk, it needs to go now. If we're going to have a president, we can't have a guy with the Mohawk.
You know, the road's not over. We're not going anywhere. So I need to change that. That's a no.
You know, the last time we did this podcast, it was with just Duduzane, and then we did one with just Winston. But we
Yes.
did Winston first.
Yes.
And the second one, when we did Duduzane, Winston had to sit in the background.
Yes.
And he was just there like, yo, guys,
He was like,
put me
"Hey,
on, put me
please,
on,
man."
put me on, put me on, put me on, put me on. We put him on with Duduzane. We saw you guys on Poor Pops together. That was phenomenal. Yo, so good, so
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And now we get to be back with you guys, and we're blessed to be in your company again. How's it been going? How's things on your side?
Things are good. Thank you very much for the warm welcome once again. Chucks, Josh, good to be on the Loadshed podcast. You guys are doing some amazing things.
Thank you, thank you.
Great guests, great content.
Thanks.
All around, everything is under control. It's been good. Yeah. Thank you for asking. How have you guys been?
Yeah,
Well, bro.
Good.
Well, crazy stuff. Crazy
Yeah.
stuff's been happening. I mean,
Yeah.
we just had a video. We had AK's former bodyguard. That's been crazy. We learned a lot there. We just had Ian.
Yo,
Insane.
that guy is
No, we
an
saw that.
adventurer of
Yeah.
loads, bro.
Insane.
But it's always a white guy, bro.
yeah. Well, yeah, they that's the crazy stuff.
That's the crazy
That's why I was
stuff.
asking the
Yeah.
guys, like, bro, why do you do this?
Go back.
Like, why?
Because
do
he
you
said the
go
chances
in there?
of coming on a trip with him, there's no
It's madness.
there's no surety. Like, you can die.
He's like, you
can die.
die.
You can
Instead of
die.
the Goggins.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once you hear that, bro, I don't even go to somebody's house that has Rottweilers, bro.
Bro,
Why are you
exactly.
going to the African jungle to play with crocodiles?
Exactly.
Hey, crazy cats.
At what stage can we call you Uncle Winnow?
Uncle, I call him Uncle Winston.
Yeah, but Winnow, I've heard Poor Pops call him Winnow.
Did he call him
That's
Winnow?
a cool name, man. I
Uncle
like that
Winnow.
name.
That's nice.
Yeah, no. Firstly, guys, thanks for the opportunity. It's always good hanging out. Yeah, so it's been a ride. I'm watching your show. The
Thanks,
numbers are up.
Yeah.
Getting there.
You boys are the boys in town. So thanks for having us. Thanks for not getting too big for us. Like, yo.
Now, what are you talking
What
about?
do you say?
So,
What are you talking about?
so now it's always a vibe with you. So it's always good to be on the show.
Thanks.
Yo, call me whatever makes you comfortable.
Really, eh?
Except Zaddy. Don't call me
Hattie. Oh, only
No Diddy.
a few people. Only a few people have that privilege, yeah?
Only a few. AGC.
Mm-hmm.
All game changers.
Yes, sir.
It's the political party that's been everywhere right now. How's
Before we last had this conversation, yeah,
Before
it
we
wasn't
last had
there,
this
so, yeah.
conversation. And what was nice is that we got to capture it from the very start, you know, Winston giving utterance of it and the start of this party and Duduzane coming to the forefront. And then we had the opportunity to sit with you and get a better understanding of your thought process and how you plan to implement and change things. How's that shift been for you now where the party actually exists? It's got a name to it, all the game changers. How's that been for you?
How's
as
the ride?
The front.
How's the ride been?
The ride's been it's been interesting. It's been a learning curve. You know, it's go time for sure. You know, it's easy to sit and be an onlooker. You know, spectating and giving all sorts of advice whilst you're not on the playing field. I mean, that's what a lot of people do. And we've decided now we're stepping onto that field. So the platform is there. The party, it's launched, it's registered, it's official. So we're working from a base, an active base, and we're growing that base on a day-to-day basis. So it's been a fun ride so far.
How's it been though? Because the last time we had a chat with you, there were a lot of comments. We just spoke about that now. Lots of positives, lots of negatives. How do you ride that wave? Because it's something that I don't like, and I think I've chatted to you about it before, and you as well.
It's crazy.
Where there's so much hate. How does one person carry that on their backs, or how do you approach that sort of stuff, that negative comments and that sort of thing? How do you deal with something like that?
Josh, I think over time, it's something that you need to get used to.
Sure.
You know, not everyone is ready for that limelight. Some people take it in a terrible way. But initially, it does take some getting used to, some training. You know, if you are in the public space, you know, I didn't want to be in this public space. That was thrust upon me. And now that we're in the political space, if you're playing the high-level business space, you'll understand that it's a contact sport. You know, the people that are going to like you, not going to like you, that are going to agree with what you say. Some will disagree, and you just got to roll with the punches. So I always average out the positive and the negative. You know, I don't focus too much on feeling good about the positive comments, whatever they may be for that day or for that period. Similarly, I don't do it on the negative side. You know, so I'll catch bits and pieces and I'll mold them together, and the average of that experience is what I take. So I'm never down in the dumps, but I'm also not on cloud nine. You know, I'm just always in my lane.
Is it a driving force for you then?
No, I don't let other people's thoughts, their processes, their insults drive me. You know, I'm an optimistic person by nature. So I'll always focus on the positive side of how things move from that point.
Winston's got a different approach though. Eh? He goes for them on the reels.
I just see Winston in his comments, and Winston goes, Winston
on some crazy comments. I don't know.
For me, it's about maximum participation, right? So people are entitled to say how they feel, right?
Sure.
So if you have a view and you're boisterous about it and you chest out about how you feel, and I have a right to respond. You know what I mean? So if you can give it, you must be able to take it. So that's my view. But all in, you're not money that everyone's gonna like you. You know what I mean? Everyone likes money, but you're not that. So as long as you are comfortable enough to put your hand up, are comfortable enough to make a stand on any particular subject, you're now out there. And now it's people's opinion. So if you let people's opinion shape how you feel about yourself, you're up a creek without a pedal. You know, it's a problem.
Yeah, he's starting again. What does he mean by a creek without a pedal? But you know, I think just to touch upon that as well. Criticism, engagement, participation, whatever it is, as long as it's done in a respectful manner. You don't have to agree with what someone else is saying or presenting. As long as it's done in a respectful manner, it's all. People don't have to agree. No, I don't like this because of A, B, C, and D. We can have a conversation. But if it comes across disrespectful, if it comes across confrontational, you know, that takes it to another level. But once again, we bear in mind that the social media space, online space is exactly that. You know, different story when you bump into someone at a bus stop or in an airport or whatever. You know, I can guarantee you that energy will be more toned down, you know. So we bear that in mind, you know.
But you know what I find, right? Us as people, when we decide to ask someone for a favor, we never leave room or allowance for him to say no, him or her to say no.
Yeah, you think it's an automatic yes.
Yes.
Because I asked.
And then you get upset that the person says no. But understand that the fact that you are unable to do whatever it is, or the fact that you don't have it, should automatically mean that there should be an allowance left in your mind that that person is unable to do it or doesn't have it at that time. But we equate the reason we're asking for it to the fact that my reason's compelling enough, he should do it or she should do it. I find that whatever you're asking for, if there's an allowance in your mind for that person to say no, you won't get as upset as you get.
Yeah. Please, I don't want, I've also got places to be.
Yeah.
What the hell?
What if I'm late for my flight? I'm late for my flight. I can't give you the gift today.
Is broken. Right? Now I need to get into the lake.
But I need to get to the airport. Yes.
So now
today.
I'm minimize me.
Any other day, not today. You're not catching a flight today. I'm late.
How do you know I'm not
No,
catching
I'm
a
just
flight with
saying.
you?
Please appreciate that our levels of
You guys are
desperation.
sounding like Karens.
You know?
No. But it happens at the airport as well. Sometimes you'll be minding your own business, running a bit late. You're not going to miss your flight, but you got to hustle on.
Sure.
And then people are not letting you through.
Yeah.
You know, like, yo, there's a final call, whatever. Sorry, I just need to catch a flight. And people are like, we don't care.
Stories.
Have you had a situation like that?
No,
at the airports?
no. Where I've had to push in front. Joburg is the worst, where you gotta run and push now.
If you have discovery, you don't need to push.
Nah, but I just try to make sure I get there.
Bank account holders, no, I don't know
about bank accounts.
Sorry.
Too soon.
No, I'm sorry.
Too soon.
It's sensitive.
You're going to do me like that, B? We've had this discussion.
Not even a Capitec though, just checking. You can't even.
You know, it's actually quite funny. A few weeks ago, we were at UKZN. And a lot of people think I'm making up the story. So we were doing a small activation. And there was a stall, the stalls, ABSA. ABSA was having...
Oh, yes, the student ones.
The student ones, just getting out those new cards where you don't need to... There's no KYC and that sort of stuff. So I was like, fellas, come check this out. You guys think that I'm BSing? Let's go. Got there. It was maybe a time frame of about 20 minutes. And to get those cards is literally everyone, 2.5 minutes, they were in, they were out, card, signed, gone. 20 minutes later, the lady was like, sorry, man, can't do it. And gave me the reasons that I've given everyone. No, go speak to this. I'm like, nah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Y'all see that? All right, cool, let's keep it moving.
Wow.
Unfortunate, but that's what it is. Yeah.
So AGC, right? They hypothetically one day the party's growing, it's growing.
You know, people will be like, nah, maybe there's another letter.
It's a G there.
It's a G.
It's a G.
You win the election, right? You're the president of the country. Surely now you can get a bank account, or the financial institute gonna still be like,
I'm sure it's a different ballgame.
No. Let's
Let's have it. I'm just asking.
So let's look at it retrospectively. There's a former president, I won't mention his name, but when he was a sitting president, he had a few of his accounts shut down. That's a fact. So I think that answers the question.
So still, he won't have.
Yeah, and it's
So I'm still gonna have to pay for Uber after this for you, bro.
Chief, cash preferably. But that's all in the past. We're here. We're moving forward.
Yeah.
And we live a day at a time. When the time comes, it'll come.
A lot of people have said, Duduzane, the Mohawk, it needs to go now. If we're gonna have a president, we can't have a guy with the Mohawk. What's going on now? Are we gonna cave, or are we gonna keep the Mohawk? What's happening?
What should it be? Cheese Corp, number one. Do you know brush cut?
I think whatever the man does, I think they still gonna come for him. You know what I mean?
You think if he has a cheese corp, bro?
Cheese corp.
He'll look nice on those banners when you're driving.
Yeah.
And there's one day with just
the ministers,
shiny head.
the ministers and the red tie.
Yeah. Just what if we have you at the Mohawk, bro, they're gonna have to fix those banners there. They're gonna have to cut it out.
I think I've had this cut for some time now.
Yeah.
And it's always something that I've wanted to have as a kid.
Okay.
But when you go to school, there's workplaces.
Yeah.
There's a certain expectation when it comes to presentation.
Was it inspired by wrestling?
No. It was actually inspired by the 70s, 80s period. I mean, it was he's in the loft, but the punk rock era.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what B.A. Baracus and them were doing at the time.
Yeah.
So
Blink-182.
So there was a time where I'm a kid of the 80s. I grew up in that time, and I'm like, yo, that's it takes something to have such a hairstyle and carry on with life. And at most times, that was attributed to the entertainment space. Then over a period of time, people have relaxed. You look at dress codes, you look at hairstyles, it's no more cut and dry what you need to look like to fit into a certain space. It's about your ability, it's about your core competence. And I think that's what it boils down to.
Sure.
I like this hairstyle. For those that don't, to hell with you, B.
I thought it was a Bellatelli vibe. But
Now it was before.
Why always me?
Why always me?
Why always me?
so I think it looks cool. I think it's now
Well,
associated.
you can't really
to,
say it looks bad, bro. This is your boy.
No.
This is your boy. You can't be like, hey, bro, that thing.
I
was-
burn
hey.
my boy all the time. So no, I think it looks great.
Yeah.
And likewise, understand that there's a lot of bench sitters who just say things, guys. You can't shape your life around what people on the bench say. Understand that when you set whatever the trend is, when you set, that's you going in the forefront, and then people take shots because that's what life is. I mean, if you speak about AGC, what we're going for as AGC is maximum participation. And we honestly feel like the IEC, it was a missed opportunity to get us on the ballot. And we feel like there were lots of barriers to entry. And for me personally, and I know our president also feels this way, that we are not getting the best of breed in Parliament. We're playing musical chairs, we're recycling, and if you look at the way the country is going, there's a capacity issue, and it's around administrative functions. I mean, ESCOM is an administrative issue. The maintenance is administrative. And I remember, and I think I spoke about it on the last podcast, when I spoke to a senior official 2-3 years ago, he'd said, Winston, you think it's bad now. Wait till we start having water issues. And now,
Yeah. It happened
water
like a week
issues.
after we saw you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water
I mean,
issues
it's got in bath for 3 weeks.
is-
on the
is-
Oh, is that
podcast.
what that is?
is now a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it to say, let's open up the space. South Africans are brilliant. There is a ton of skill. Why do you think we get so emotionally moved when our team, the Springboks, perform well or Bafana perform well? Because efficiency is such a powerful thing to see. When South Africans do something well as a team, from all walks of life, all colors, that is a powerful symbol. So that moves us. Likewise, the Team South Africa in Parliament should look like that, and it should be the best of the best. So that's how we feel about it.
Now that you mentioned it, do you guys think we are going to be without electricity post the 29th of May? Because I mean, I saw a tweet. I think it was Musi mentioning the fact that, hey guys, open your eyes. Yes, we haven't had uninterrupted lights for a while now, but the guys are saying, as soon as elections are finished, we're back. We're going to be back. What do you guys think? Do you guys think we'll be back? Because we've been enjoying way too much electricity lately.
Coming to an
It
end
feels
soon.
like a
It's like,
problem, bro. When
This
you've
is
got
like-
too many days with lights, you're like, no,
It's
something's
almost
wrong.
like you want to hold your breath and be like, whoa,
Let's
whoa,
just
whoa,
put the
whoa,
lights
whoa,
off,
whoa,
guys,
whoa.
just to make
Yeah.
sure.
I personally feel that it shouldn't be left up to society to have to speculate. Government should be clear. This is the problem. This is why we don't have capacity. And this is how long it's going to take us to fix it, because we're building 1, 2, 3. Clear. And stick to that and give feedback in relation to that. Businesses are going under not only because they don't have electricity, but because they left to speculate how long this is going to go on for. And government set deadlines, and then without any kind of communique, those deadlines pass, are not met. How many times has our government said, this is the end of load shedding, load shedding's gone? They made a big statement, a big hoo-ha, that load shedding was ending in December. Then it didn't. Now, I'm sure up until elections, there'll be no load shedding. After elections, it'll be back. Why? Why do we not care about the perception we're creating about our country, the perception we're creating about the competence of our government? It's a bad look.
But do we not have a suspicious amount of electricity right now? If you know what I mean.
Because I've been watching
If I can frame
TV,
it
charging
like
my phone, charging my watch, bro. Life's been good, bro.
It's suspiciously
I've watched every
a
single
lot.
Champions League game. Last year,
You know what
I
I
was watching highlights the next morning.
Who do you support, by the way?
United.
Champions League, United. Okay, we're in the,
We're
okay,
not
we're
there,
in
bro.
the same.
We're not
no,
there,
we're
bro.
not. No,
My
no.
team's not there.
That's my team as well,
not
so we're in
there.
the same boat.
We're not even on Thursdays, bro.
No, we're riding the season out, but it's all good next time.
But
Just to respond to Chuck's, load shedding will be back after the elections, most definitely. We saw it. I mean, the telltale signs. You look at the Rugby World Cup, literally the day after we won the cup,
We're back.
we back. So there's this game playing that happens. You know, government has become a spokesperson of the issues in our country, and they've gone from dealing with the problems to highlighting what the problems are. We all know what the issues are. They've put out some communique that we're going to stage 16. That they've, you know, I mean, they're basically prepping us, saying, guys, it's coming.
But what's stage 16 now, bro?
But why should we care what it is? We shouldn't care what it is.
Yeah, but now
Anything besides
stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4.
Any stage
What?
0. Anything
Should
besides
be
stage 0.
Yeah.
Actually, no load shedding. Now stage 0 means something else, and that means complete annihilation. No load shedding. You know?
It's too much.
No, because what happens is they've created the basis for us to get sucked into the mediocrity of what problem solving should be. And this is our fault. We cannot blame government. So when we have the discussions around making changes, getting people in positions to make changes that are serious about making changes, competent is one thing, but are able to get the changes done and have the willpower to do so is another. Because simply put, they are not interested in fixing the problem. Simple. I'll take it further. They don't know how to fix the problem. That's just what it is. You cannot say for the past 3-4 years that we're solving the problem. This was an inherited problem from the previous administration. You've had the time to fix it. The reason why you haven't fixed it is because it's either you don't want to or you don't know how to. So the mediocrity, that blame lays with us as South African society. Because here we are, and Winston touched upon it, an opportunity to say, guys, we don't like what's happening. And if this is what it looks like, these are the representations of what's happening, leaders, political formations, affiliations. If we don't change that, then we're the ones to blame. We cannot blame the CEO of ESCOM. We cannot blame the president of the country. We're the ones that put them there.
So
And
how
what-
would
Sorry, go on, Josh.
how would AGC put an end to load shedding?
Firstly, we have to be realistic about the situation. You know, we're always chasing the dream. And what is the dream? South Africa being a first world country, you know, even though we are a developing country, but we've got a lot of first world traits. You know, you look at our financial system, you look at a lot of our policies, you look at our infrastructure, you know, we're up there with the best of them. As a matter of fact, better than some of them.
We're like a Model C, ex-Model C school. You know those ones?
Yeah.
They're going to come for you in the comments.
No,
CG.
but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, but you know, people out there, I'm just
I'm saying that's
Nah, true story.
It's kind
No,
of
but
like
that's a great
if you look at
analogy.
it, we're like an ex-Model C, kind of almost a private
That's
school,
that's
but
a great,
not.
yeah.
But we've got everything that a
100%.
private school could have. But then maybe we're not functioning like a private school should.
Some departments function like a private, like Cape Town
Exactly.
is the private school part that they're making it look like,
Maybe,
and then there's
yeah.
other parts.
So this is the electricity issue in this country. Simply put, without speaking in fancy terms, because that's what they used to confuse us. You have our power utility, which is ESCOM, was one of the best power utility performing power utilities in the world at some point. You had a crop of leaders that were built into the system and have been growing from the advent of democracy up until they got rid of a lot of them based on political issues, political affiliations, whatever. That was during the state capture time. That's the reason that they gave. They've had this period of time to sort out the issues that they said that they would, and they haven't. You have an aging fleet of power stations in South Africa, which is common knowledge. Some of them now hitting 50 years, and some of them are reaching the end of life, meaning the wheels are going to fall off at some point because the boilers are too old and the piping and whatever else goes into the towers and everything. So you have electrification via fossil fuel, which is coal, which leads into the issue of the net zero 2030 carbon emissions and all that sort of thing that we as part of the global community, strangely, agreed to say, look, by 2030, you would have ramped down to emissions-free power generation using alternate energies. That would be wind, solar, whatever other alternate energy opportunities that are present in our country. Now, what happened is we're trying to fix this problem by phasing out electricity generation by coal and making South Africa run on alternate energies. To be clear, that will never happen. The base load, the energy availability factor in this country, which should be sitting at closer to 75%, is way down, is way off the mark because of the issues that exist at Eskom. Now you have issues that are not being dealt with. You have global expectations that we're fitting into, and we are feeding into that scheme instead of saying, guys, we will do it at a pace that we can. As we are ramping up on alternate and as we're getting the output out, the input, we need to perfect it. We spent many years ago to build Kusile, Medupi, and whichever other power stations. The budget for those power stations at that time, I'm talking about 2010, 2011, was sitting at around 70, 80 billion rand. Now it's closer probably to 200, 300 billion rand. The cost overruns, penalties, and still, we keep hearing that these units are coming online and they keep, going down. So there's also that issue of how that was managed or mismanaged up for debate. Yes. So now, without speaking in long terms, the situation in our country is, and there is going to be no other way. We are energy dependent, so we are a heavy industry country. The industrialization in this country, the mining, the farming, the manufacture cannot run off alternate energy. Impossible. They can say whatever they want to say. Let's park that. How are they sustaining the electricity at this point? It's burning diesel, nothing else. And you look at those, and I've said this many times, the story of the years to come will be who signed off and who benefited from the diesel contracts that are being used to supply and to keep the energy running in this country. Because it runs to right now from 2016, 17 up until now. People will think I'm making numbers up. It must be running closer to probably trillion bucks, if not more.
I think,
and it's a handful of people that are running that.
The diesel contracts is going to be the next arms deal situation. That investigation, who made
most of
the diesel burning, that's going to be the same. And our position as AGC is, it's really the People's Party, really an opportunity. So, like if you look at how we would choose ministers, Minister of Health, we would take CVs from all walks of South Africa. What you look like, irrelevant. Are you competent? And you'll be measured. So you don't have to have voted for AGC. You don't even have to be a supporting member or a party member. You'll be a normal, everyday person who has experience, who has the core competency, and you'll be hired for that. And you will be measured. Your KPIs will be on your output. And if you look at the way things are done today, cadre deployment, if you head of police minister, you would have had competency in policing. And when we speak to you, we'll speak about crime stats and we'll measure it against that, not how popular you are, how you're able to get a crowd riled up, or how much of history you know. It'll just be about those stats and what you in charge of. If you in charge of roads, we'll ask you about the potholes, like not what this party did or what do you think about that. Just listen, when we drive down the South Coast or when we drive to Maritzburg, this is it. Our cars are being damaged, and that's all. So I think we have to look at competent people, and it doesn't necessarily have to be minister coming from AGC. He has struggle credentials, or he has no. Does he do the job? Does he have the skill set that the job requires? And this is a call to all South Africans. Guys, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, no one's coming to save us. Only South Africans can save South Africa. That's it. Only we can save ourselves. So the most skilled people need to stand up. The most skilled people need to participate. And that's what it is. And forget this perception that's been created that politics is only for a certain few and there's a science to politicking and you need to be a wildly smart Listen, it's about delivery. Let's just deliver. Let everyone get involved, get in where you fit in, and let's just deliver to South Africa. Because it's now beyond embarrassing. It's dire.
Diabolical.
Thank you, my brother.
The how. Because what people are going to say is, yeah, you've said it, you didn't say how. The how on Eskom is the different stakeholders, which would be from president level to the Minister of Energy to the executives at Eskom, Director General that runs the Ministry of Energy, unions, workers, everyone needs to be on the same page. Right now, that's not happening. You have unions pulling in one direction. You have executives pulling in a different direction. You've got business forums who've popped up who want a piece of the action. So there's that pressure coming from their end, and everyone is basically trying to take a bite of what should be protected and built. So unless you have everyone sitting on the same page and understanding that we need to fix this problem, the time will come where earnings, positionings, everyone will get what's due to them. But right now, as South Africans, this is the issue. Let's get this right. Once this is running, once electricity is not an issue, companies are flourishing, investors are pouring in, then we can talk about, okay, how do we bump the cheese up? How do we get people earning more? Right now people want to earn. It's not working. People that are put in position are afraid to work there because they feel their lives are under threat. So it's something that needs to take into consideration just one understanding. And I don't believe that is out there. I honestly believe it's a simpler fix than it looks. 8 to 10 months maximum. We need to keep the coal capacity up. We need to say to the rest of the world, guys, we'll get to you guys. Let's focus on what South Africa has to do now to stabilize. That goes for water as well. Let's stabilize our infrastructure. Let's get our people understanding that sabotaging is not affecting just the communities that you're in because you're trying to get a piece of the action. It's affecting the country as a whole because you have a problem in the power generating spaces, which is in the Mpumalanga, the coal belt in the main, that affects the rest of the country. And then we also need to look at the future and what the infrastructure looks like. Let's decentralize power so we don't have an over-reliance on one part of the country producing power for the rest of the country. I think those are fixes that we definitely will bring to the fore with the understanding that we have of having played in the coal mining space and the conversations that we've overheard, that we've been a part of, that we've been expected to do to be part of making sure that the electricity grid is stable. And from the coal producers, the miners, let's also be fair on the system, because as Eskom, as government, as well, for the longest period of time, there's been a lot of value drained from the Eskom coffers by private companies, by their pricing matrices being too high. Let's not rob our country for the resources that it has. There's resources in abundance. There's a big pie on the table. There's enough money to be made, but don't shortchange our society. Yeah.
You speak about resources. There was another video I saw. I've been seeing videos where I think it was a guy from Dubai or UAE or Saudi or something, where they speak about all the minerals and how they've got the oil and stuff like that, and how well their country's been running. And he actually says, you guys in South Africa have got way more resources than we do. But it is in the leadership. So we've got a whole lot of gold, we've got all of that, the coals, we've got it all, but we just need to fix how we have how the leadership is run, so that it can be fruitful, so it can turn into a private school, so to speak. Can you give us a crash course on how to start a party?
Before you say that,
yeah.
Sorry, before we respond to that, what you raise is the most important thing.
Oh.
It's known as the resource curse.
Oh, there you go.
And it's not just South Africa that suffers from it. It's Africa, a major part of it, if not all of it. South America, Southeast Asia, major parts of Asia, where the underground wealth does not translate to above ground wealth. So whatever you have underground, whatever minerals you have, and you named a few of them, you don't see it materializing to what is above ground: roads, schools, hospitals, ports of entry and exit, and whatever it is. And what, I'm not sure who the gentleman is that you saw from Dubai that mentioned.
But it did ring a bell to me. Like, actually, we do have all the resources.
Yeah, they do. And
why don't we look after ourselves like the Emiratis do?
I've actually told a story once. I had the pleasure of sitting in a meeting with the chairman of Emirates, His Honorable, His Excellency the Sheikh, the chairman, not the Sheikh of Dubai. So his portfolio is the airline and the banks and some of the property divisions. And he said the exact same thing, just like many Emiratis would say. Ahmed bin Saleh, good friend of ours, the exact same thing. So wherever you go, you'll get the same sense. And their common understanding is the way that the UAE is flourished is one leader who has one vision that is supported by his country. That's it. By this complete population, which is unlike many places in Africa, because we've got different groupings. We all want the same thing, but we're using different routes to get to that place. So he used an example where he traveled to South Africa, if I'm not mistaken, in the late 70s, early 80s. And this was at that time the vision of the sheikh that was running Dubai. And he was a young man, as it said. But he'd come on a trip with a delegation, and he met the heads of South African government, different heads. And he'd mentioned to them, look, there are plans that are being instituted in Dubai. There's an understanding that the oil wealth will dry out. So this was the foresight before it did. We need to find a way of changing our system to benefit our society economically, because the oil wealth is going to dry out. How do we get people to come to Dubai and invest? And that's when it came to real estate, property, hospitality, and that's what they're known for. And that came with making a city that's livable in, viable, because if you're living in Dubai, you're basically buying a lifestyle, and that lifestyle is cleanliness, it's security, it's the best of best amenities. And then it's technically the center of the earth when it comes to travel. It's not Africa, it's actually the Middle East if you look at timing, time zones, so they're actually well positioned. And he said he presented to some of the government officials at that time, and they'd mentioned, look, we have a plan on building a new city in Dubai, and we're going to make it the most technologically advanced city, safe, and it's going to bring the world to the Middle East. And he remembers having a conversation, and one of the guys there, well, a lot of them, were like, what is this gentleman talking about? Some of them laughed it off, and off they went. So there was Expo.
It was supposed to be
No, not Expo, sorry. Yeah, Expo 20, supposed to be 2020.
Yeah, it was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be, it was 2021. The previous Expo to that, if I recall, was in 2016, and that was in Turkey, in Antalya, if I'm not mistaken. And when they'd gotten that briefing, as they were planning for Expo, he was part of the delegations, receiving different delegations from different part of the world from the as being part of the UAE delegation. Deliberating with different people, and in a random meeting, as it ended, a gentleman put his hand up, introduced himself, and he happened to be an Afrikaans gentleman from South Africa, elderly at this point. And they spoke, and the gentleman said to the sheikh, "You don't remember me?" And he's like, "Oh, please refresh my memory." He said, "Years ago, you traveled to South Africa and you spoke about your plans for what your country would look like. And one better, they offered and they said, look, as a bilateral, we will do what we're doing, what we plan to do in the UAE in South Africa. Is there a place that we can look at that getting this prototype done?" And the place that they had earmarked was conditions similar to what Dubai would be, which would be desert and with an ocean front. And they earmarked whatever tract of land that was. And they said, look, if you allocate us that piece, we'll build a replica, something smaller, not exactly the same, but just to show that we are serious about what it is that we're talking about. And that obviously didn't happen. So he reminded him and he said, the words that stuck with me, and I'm standing here today and saying in front of everybody, is that you said that you're going to build a first-class city, that everyone is welcome, everyone feels safe, that everyone can just be free to express themselves. And I'm living here, and I was one of the people that laughed at your idea. And this is definitely, out of all my travels, the safest and the most optimally run city in the world. And he used this example as he was just speaking, and I think that speaks to the gentleman that you spoke about. This is it's not rocket science.
We got it all.
It's a very, very simple thing to do. We just need to all rally behind that one vision.
Yeah.
I think also, if I could just add to what the president says, I think fundamentally there are two massive.
Oh, sorry, by the way.
Sorry.
In that meeting, I had a mohawk, just for those people who are talking.
Two massive mindset changes that need to happen. One, I think currently in politics and for some of our politicians, they feel when they're elected to that seat, when they're elected to that position, they've arrived. I think the mindset that I've arrived and now people need to serve me because I'm the boss is something that we need to change as leaders. You need to understand that when you are elected to that position is an opportunity to serve. An opportunity to serve. You are now in a position to serve your country. You are now in a position to serve your people. You're now in a position to serve your community. You haven't arrived. Your story is still to be written, and you'll be judged on that period, how you served. So leadership is an action and is an action of service. So that's for our leaders. And for ordinary South Africans who feel participating in anything political, participating in anything community-based, participating in anything that is orientated towards serving and giving back to South Africa is beneath you. Those are the two fundamental reasons that we are where we are. Because we're not in those town hall discussions, because we're not in those ward meetings, because we're not in those debates with councillors, because we're not there, we don't understand why things aren't happening. We don't understand the seriousness of the situation we're in. If you sat in one ward meeting, if you sat in one or a few councillor feedback sessions, you'd know that we're actually in a bit of trouble, because you'd know that we are not getting the best quality of leaders. Because remember, the leaders don't come out of the sky. They come out of those grassroots meetings, and they get elevated. So if we're not getting the best there, it's not going to be miraculous that someone gets parachuted. They usually come out of that base. So I think the indications of the quality are in those meetings. And I can assure you that a lot of South Africans, if you went to those, you would be shocked. You'd be shocked the level of argument. You'd be shocked at the level of banter. And I think you would then realize we got to do something. So I think it's a mindset shift. We always think someone else is going to do it. Someone else is going to get the country on track. One of the days I was driving to Mklanga, and I was behind a car with a family of kids in the back and the parents up front. And the kids wound down the window and threw out whatever they were eating, wrappers, chips, buddy bottles, just threw it out the window. Now I ask you, firstly, as a parent, when the kid winds down the window, you know that there's something happening. And the natural nature at which the kids threw that out would tell you they've done it many times before. Now, in your own home, would you throw stuff on the floor? No. This country is your home. When you have a posture that says it's us and them, who is us and who is them? It's us, South Africa, Team South Africa. The president is the coach, the president is the manager, the president is the CEO. When you don't do what you're supposed to, when you don't report crime, when you pay a bribe, when you're part of crime, when you don't fix something that's in your power to do, when you don't deliver on a service that you paid to do, when you don't give back as mentorship, you're letting the team down. President and I were involved in a cleaning campaign. And the first thing that would come up is, oh, you want to be president of cleaning up, ha, ha, ha. And you think to yourself, what kind of South Africans do we want to be? The fact that we feel cleaning our communities is beneath some people, is beneath us, speaks more about who we are. What are we saying? We would go to areas in charge of parks, right? So these guys, we want assistance from them to help us clean, to help us cut the grass. And you get there and the grass is overgrowing the fence. So these guys have the machinery, they have the manpower, and where they are, the grass isn't cut. So now tell me, besides the management there and the leadership there, if anybody in authority just did a visit, they would know that this place is not in order. You know? And it's like, for me, if I visit a school and the school's filthy, that is a failure at so many levels. When the principal went on his walkabout, he couldn't see his school was filthy. Why couldn't he say, okay, we're not doing break time, we're cleaning the school. And we'll clean it every break until it used to be.
That's what
all right? When the deputy walked around, couldn't he see that?
Yeah.
When the HODs walked around, and look at the different levels. When the prefects walked around, when the SRC walked around, when the students walked around, when the groundsmen or the caretakers. So this is a problem that we keep kicking the can down the road. And I feel like as South African as a whole, we have to either get involved or unfortunately you got to hang your head in shame. Because now you are part of the problem. And we have to open up. That's why people saying, oh, AGC is not participating, they're not smart enough, or they're not getting in. Firstly, it's a missed opportunity on the IEC's side to get maximum participation. The country needs all of us. There should be more of us because we clearly, as a country, need help. And we need the best of the best. That's number one. Number two is, how do we fundamentally change the mindset to one of accountability? Can't we have a situation where a leader, a minister says, you know what? On my watch, things have not gone right. I'm stepping down. Not recycled. I'm moving from health to sport. I'm moving from... On my watch, things have not gone the way they should. Or a leader saying, listen, I'm just too old. Isn't there fresh ideas or fresh young people or these young leaders? Here's one or two I've earmarked. Where have you had that? You don't hear that.
The leader's not going to give up his payslip.
Okay. Now I then say to you, us as community, us as society, we should be the ones who then say, okay, no. By virtue of what's going on, we need something fresh. Look at the barriers to entry that are now being put into leaders coming into parliament. And you know why those barriers are there? Because the more people come into parliament, the more parties there are. Now budgets have to be...
It's getting saturated now.
Saturated now. Because think about it. If you had a scheme, and let me just call it a scheme for lack of a better term, and you were milking the system, no one really worried you. You didn't have anything where you had to account. You had this whole setup. Why would you stop? They don't have to stop. They don't have deliverables. We have to open up that space and we have to lift the level of leader we have in that space. And it has to be fresh and it has to be inclusive. Because unless South Africa is an inclusive picture, you're always going to have situations. You're always going to have problems. Unless we change the employment situation, the crimes. So we know all the problems and we know all the solutions. The problem we have is we think someone else needs to do it. Someone else is going to do it. There's no place like home. This is the best country in the world. It's on us to spread that narrative. I freak out when I hear South Africans downing their country because we've traveled. We know our country is beautiful. We know the cost of living is really low, comparatively speaking. We know that you tweak this country, it's the best country on earth. But we need to sell that story and we need to make sure that we make sure it is the best. And no one else is going to come do it. We need to get involved in doing it.
Yeah.
That's a crash course right there.
So yeah, that's the crash course I'm looking for. Because you are mentioning the IEC's missed opportunity here. So for us to understand, we need to know Okay, what does it look like when you create a political party, and what happened within that process that didn't get AGC on the ballot paper? That's basically what we're trying to understand. But before we understand exactly what happened there, we need to know what the process looks like. Like, yeah.
The process it's actually quite a simple process. It's unfortunately on the regulator side that they complicate it. Firstly, you need to have the willingness. Like, this is what you want to do. You're serious about doing it. And your outlook on what the political situation looks to you, what it looks like to you. You need a name. You need a constitution. You need a logo. And you need a manifesto as a starting point. You hand over that information, and then a limited number of signatures just for people to say, look, we see this party. If it came around and it's 1,000 signatures.
How long is a manifesto? How long does it have to be?
As long as you want to make it.
Yeah.
So there's long drawn out ones, there's simpler ones, but it's dependent on your views, because people, depending on your political structuring, it'll dictate.
Are there any highlighted elements that stand out for AGC on your manifesto that you'd like to talk us through?
Yeah, most definitely. I think the first one, and which is at the top of our list, is what we call land redistribution with compensation. So we fiercely believe in that, as opposed to what is out there, land expropriation without compensation, because of what the reality is. I think a lot of people are guilty of making statements that are used to get support, to get votes, and it's based on people's sufferings. Is there a history of land dispossession in South Africa? 100%, no doubt. You go back, we have agreement that there has been an issue of people being, majority black people being dispossessed. But where we're at right now, what is it that we're doing to remedy the situation? If we speak about land expropriation, so taking land from people that have it in their hands, whether it be private, whether it be government, in the nature that people are speaking about, which is more of a forceful nature, and without reimbursing, it is going to be a problem. People must name places in the world. Feel free to do so in the comments section. See what I did right there? Anywhere in the world where land expropriation with compensation has worked. There is no way that it's worked. And it's not going to work in South Africa.
You mean without compensation? Without compensation.
My apologies. Thank you for that correction. Land expropriation without compensation. It hasn't worked. And it will not work in South Africa. Simply because if you look at the way the economy is structured, if you look at financial systems, financial structures, everything boils down to real estate, boils down to land. Anything that we speak about. The homes that we live in, whether we've bought, whether we're renting, office spaces, schools, airports, everything is built on land. Land can be used for agriculture, can be used, you can mine land, you can build on it, you can lease it, you can rent it, you can sell it. So if you look at the overarching basis that keeps economies together, that keeps society together, it's land. You look at, even from a religious perspective, churches and the history of churches, land. You take it back, you fast forward it to the fast food space. You speak about McDonald's and how they structured their business. It's based on real estate.
Real estate business.
It's land. So if we're going to start messing with that system and saying, okay, Josh, you own this, we're taking it from you because you got it in whichever way that you got it inherited, or whether you bought it from someone, it's going to cause a problem. So people need to bear in mind that if we are going to take on that route, we are going to definitely we're gonna down our financial systems. And if people are prepared to do so, that's what we're going to do as a country. And we're saying no, we're not going to do that. So that is the one of the biggest talking points on, and that is different from everyone else. And if you look at, as well as Winston touched upon, the employment equity space and how we're going to get people positioned in government spaces, in state-owned enterprises, it's going to be best of breed. whether you're coming from the private sector, whether you support us or not, whether you like us or not. You don't have to like us for us to work with you, and vice versa. If you can get the job done, you're more than welcome. If you've got the track record, you've got the history in that space, and you are the guy to turn it around or the lady to turn it around, then the job is yours. And once again, it's not something that we are placing in the atmosphere. If you look at recruitment agencies, which are privately run, you give us that information. So you can't say, hey, but Josh is your homie, you hooked him up. You're going to give us the information. There'll be a committee that will sit. We will pick, well, that committee, not us, that committee will pick who that best that best person would be to run whichever department, ministry, state-owned enterprise. So an open process is what we're doing. So I think those two, besides a whole host of stuff that we've spoken
Those are the
about,
main ones.
intelligence, the security, getting our defense force, as much as we know that they're the last line of defense when it comes to security in our country, but I mean, they're sitting idle most of the time. We're not in wartime in South Africa, and to deal with the issues of criminality in our country, we need more hands on deck. We need more expertise. People are getting killed willy-nilly out there, and most of it is heavy artillery. It's no more guys running up on you with handguns. It's rifles, and it's crazy what's going on. So we need to be more serious about incorporating.
How would we make it safer though? What would you do to make South Africa a safer place for each and every individual?
So it needs to start from, once again, it starts from us, and we'll always boil it down to the member of society. If you look at most communities where there are a lot of heinous crimes happening, most people know who the perpetrators are. Whether it be domestic abuse, murder, hijackings, car theft. People know who the guys are. It's so-and-so, and people are afraid. They don't want to be seen as snitches. They're afraid for their lives. So once enforcement, the law enforcement comes into play, that should be a secondary measure, cannot be primary. Because I can tell you now, like what is happening in most communities, people will report the crime, and by the time the cops come, the perpetrator will be in the vicinity, but the community protects them because they love him or because they're afraid of him. That's up for debate. But unless we say, guys, we're tired of this, these are the issues, these are the people doing the dirt in this community, there we go. It's not going to be, we can't depend on everything. South Africa always depends on outsiders, always depends on aid, always depends on someone to come and resolve their problems. We need to take control of our situations from community level up.
Sure.
So law enforcement, crime fighting has to start at community member level. And then working up, yes, obviously we need to get our police stations right. We need to get our personnel training. And there's no sense in putting 20,000 boots on ground when people don't know what they're doing. We've seen it. We've been into police stations, just sometimes taking of statements. It's a headache. People are disinterested. If you don't want to be there, out. Let's get someone who's willing to be there and who's willing to do their job. You look at forensics labs when it comes to the policing space, where we had some of the best and most advanced forensics labs globally. We are down to a handful of them. So the crime fighting perspective, the low level of the low rate of guilty verdicts in this country will be based to the investigative level of how things are done. So if you don't have the right information, you can't fight that case. So everything from fingerprints to blood to hair follicles and whatever other items, that level of investigations from a forensic space is what's missing. Then you get detectives and investigators who are also fumbling the ball because it's an art, and it's an art that is learned over a period of time. A lot of those people have aged out and haven't passed that skill on. So we need to develop those skills again. So those are things that we do, and just investing in technology into crime fighting, which will be a huge thing. As the AGC, we're focusing a lot on tech, whether it be in the agricultural space, in the security, crime fighting space. These are things that we'll do, because I think a lot of issues that we have in our system are man-made. And then finally, when it comes to government contracts, as an example, tenders, if you look at the tech space, there's interesting things happening out there. You've got blockchains, you've got peer-to-peer communication, smart contracts. So remove the human element of what education should be, because that's where, Chucks will be like, yo, I know a guy. You'll be like, yo, I know a guy. He'll be like, yo,
Tinderpreneur.
you know
My
what I'm
guy
saying?
can get the job
Get
done.
the job done.
guys.
So we start, let's take it away from.
If your guy can get a chance, sorry to interject, President, you load up onto the system checks everything, checks your taxes, checks your compliance certs, checks your previous
All
work
automated.
history, automated,
Gives
you the work.
That's it.
You don't have to speak to anyone. You don't have to organize. The system does it. No one's getting killed.
So there's no bias.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no one's getting killed because the tender didn't go the way it was supposed to go. Because currently, right? So government officials are being put there by lobby groups. So Chuck says so many unions under him, so many warm bodies in terms of people. If you vote for, if Winston, I'll vote for you, but when you're there, I want this tender, I want that tender. So now, instead of delivering, instead of being the person that's checking if Chucks is actually doing the work, now I'm like, yo, Chucks, I paid you back with this tender, I'm paying. Take that all away. The system would adjudicate. So the government is now one really of the people. It's your government. The people there really represent you. You have an opportunity. You'd get a situation where someone says, I'm studying, I'm hoping to be Minister of Health one day. As a career. I don't have to know anyone. I just
It's what I want to
what
be.
I want to do.
I aspire to be.
I do the work. Let's get Border Patrol going. You can't just have a situation where people can zip in and out. Someone could zip in, do crime, and leave. If you don't have your situation in terms of Border Patrol, you're going to have a problem. Let's get the Defense Force to affirm the police. Is in some places where it's heavy. Get the Defense Force backing the police in terms of numbers, right? That's going to bring up tourism. Let's get government departments, government offices efficient. How many times do you go to Home Affairs and it's offline?
Imagine.
Come tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's offline. What's going on? You get there 5 o'clock. It's offline at 10
Imagine
o'clock.
if it was commission based at Home Affairs.
You get
How
what I'm
quick
saying?
we've had this
How quick
discussion.
would we
But
go?
that's
though?
it.
You
It's
understand?
service
Yeah.
levels and quick turnaround
Yeah.
time. That's what we miss.
I mean, you get into a police station. How long do you stand there before someone attends to you? You could just sit there and no one will attend to you for long periods. And also, look at the environment, look at the station, look at things are breaking, things aren't working. A policeman could pull you over, right? For your indicator not working, but his headlight isn't working. Isn't that a contradiction in itself? How does he feel
Pulling you over.
pulling you over? He knows he's... So there are things that really, the simple stuff. Let's do the basics right.
You've spoken a lot about representation.
Wait, guys,
right?
you haven't finished my question that I asked a half an
What?
hour ago.
No.
Manifesto, yes. And then you get the signatures.
Yeah.
So it's how to create a political party.
We went through that. And you
told
asked
me.
about the manifesto, so we're digging into the
Yeah,
manifesto.
I know. That's So
Okay, so you want
I just asked how
continuation.
long a manifesto should be.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I just want to know from there what happens then.
Yeah, so from there
you
you
submit it.
You submit it. So you need to give notification. The government gazette it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the information is out in the public for any objections. So you could come and say, actually, that name was stolen from us, or the logo is similar. Which we see it playing out with some
That's
current
interesting.
examples. And then if not, then you go through, and that's basically the process. And honestly, I'm not sure about everyone else, but our experience of that was a few weeks. And I feel like it should be, I get the government gazette thing, there needs to be some
Presented.
time that it needs to be out there for people to come across it. But we need to shorten the times of how things are done in this country.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, just there's information that's out there. There's online spaces to get information out quicker. You know, most people, if they don't see the online, most people aren't logging on to any government databases. I may be wrong, unless it's for purposes of getting information on contracts. Otherwise, people are not out there checking who's who in the zoo and what political information is out there. You know, so how do we get that information from as a government to people to say these are applications that were done, yay, nay, carry on. So
and then what happens?
And then from there you are sent your notice that you've been registered as a political formation, and that is a different process to applying to contest for an election.
Okay.
Yeah, so contestation comes with, you got to drop a little sum to government,
Really?
hold on to this, but legitimately, of course.
Yeah, so it's like a
so you got to pay, you've got to pay
registration fee.
Yeah, a deposit.
A deposit?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to tell us how much it is?
Depending, so it varies.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're contesting. So you get national, you get provincial, you get regional.
Okay.
And basically the more areas you contest, the bigger your...
So if it's national, you need like 100K.
For national, it's sitting at, I think it's 200, yeah.
200K?
200, yeah.
And then an amount every province.
Yeah.
Before you know what
it's
you're
a bar.
70.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a province is about like 70,000. So basically if you contest everything, you're close to $1 million.
Yeah.
And is that where government funding comes in? For example, when political parties have funding?
No.
Where
So
does
it's
that
after
come
that.
from?
So once you've gotten past that process. So in this period where it's election, that's when the funding. So you've been
Okay.
So they allocate you the funds as parties that are part of a campaigning or voter registration drive, legitimately on the system, registered and contesting.
And
That's
then
when it comes
then
in.
you go for it. Now, where did it fall off for AGC when it came to that? Because everybody was expecting names on ballots.
Where it fell off was in the
voting.
beginning. They saw us as a threat. So even way before registration time, because where we are, people need to understand that we are a threat in the system. There's no doubt about it. People are afraid of the possibility of what this change looks like, because this change means upsetting the apple cart top down. The way the political system is stacked up, the role players, meaning the people behind the scenes, the lobby groups, everything. It's a system that's going to change completely, and it is going to change. Whether people think they're playing games with us or not is immaterial. We're here to stay. We're a power base that you cannot ignore, whether we contest elections or not. And I've said this before, elections are just one piece of the puzzle. There's a whole host of things that need to happen outside of the electioneering that people see.
Which you guys still can do.
Yeah, for sure. We're always going to do.
Yeah.
Because what we've always said is it's a mindset change.
Do you think if Duduzane Zuma wasn't president of the AGC, you would be on the AGC would be on the ballot paper?
You need to repeat that question again?
Do you think, okay, so imagine you're not in the room.
Yeah.
Do you think if Duduzane Zuma was not part of the AGC, that AGC would be on the IEC voters list?
Most definitely, yes.
Do you think so?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, I know so.
Yeah.
They're scared, man. They're afraid.
I thought so.
And that fear is not because of me as a personality. It's because of the idea of what youth-driven change will be. They understand exactly what it is. So it's not just us, it's many other people that might have met the same fate. It's young people driving change. It freaks them out completely. And what we are saying, and unfortunately for where we're at in Africa, you have and South Africa is definitely the case. It's a very patriarchal society, and it's always the elder who's a male who runs the system.
Basically, it's the brakes on the gravy train. You know what I mean? And the guys want to keep it going keep the party going as long as they can. But it's just, when it's just over, and that party is just over. So the idea that AGC has started will outlive us, because once the die is cast, it's spreading in the water, So I think it started that conversation now, and I think it's going to run on, because remember, there's a local government election, which people feel like is far away, but 2026 is only a year and a bit away.
And those AGC could still partake in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And over and above that, there are parties now which have put in objections, which are going through the court systems. If those are successful, it overturns everything.
Yeah, precedents.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways that this plays out. But what doesn't stop is us doing the work. What doesn't stop is us growing the base. What doesn't stop is us canvassing and talking about what AGC is about. What doesn't stop is us delivering. The election is May 29th. On the 30th, we'd be on the ground doing the work. When the other parties say, okay, let's wait for the next 5 years, or let's wait for the next election season, we'll be on the ground doing the work.
Okay.
And I said to someone, the problem that the older establishment are going to have is AGC is who we are. So we haven't changed to create a certain narrative, change to create a certain perception. We can do what we do every day. So, you know what I mean? It's like you trying to keep up with a guy whose passion it is to do road running. You know what I mean?
I knew you'd say that.
You know what I mean?
He likes running. He's a runner.
No, but you know what I mean? Now you're meeting this guy. That's what he does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So that's cool.
There's a point. Sorry, I'd have to finish this point.
Go for it.
Sorry. The patriarchal society. I think this is a fundamental point, which we need to introspect as people in this country. You have an elderly. Okay, you have a scenario that you have the elders that run our society. Whether you look at it in our households, and it's always the male, the older male. In our households, in our communities, traditionally, when you look at chiefdoms, kingdoms, as black people, that's what it is. And what we've seen over a period of time is, for the most part, there isn't a plan on continuity, on legacy. And legacy doesn't mean a handover. It means the system running smoothly without breaks in it. Those breaks being the disconnect between what was and what is. So if you look at, and everyone can use their own family dynamics, and I'm saying, I'm speaking from a black perspective because I'm a black male, and this is the way I've seen it and I've experienced it. If you look at the way our households are ran, if you look at the roles and responsibilities, you look at decision making, for the longest period, it's one person, and that's it until that person reaches the end of life. After he's gone, it leaves a complete mess, right? And I think I'm using that example of the household, which is politics right now. So we've taken the way the patriarchal society in our households run, and we've put it into the political space, and this is what we have playing out. Now, that cycle has to be broken. Because if you look at outside of our family dynamics as black people, if you look outside of our societal dynamics as the African traditional and cultural places, and if you look at how that plays out in different areas, different races, it's a completely different story because people understand what continuity is and understanding what walking off the field or off the stage means and when it should be done. You know, we can all look at our relationships with our elders in our families, and we'll realize that that cycle hasn't been broken. It's our duty to break that cycle. Because if we don't get it right, within our family dynamics, it's going to translate into politics, which it has. And that's why we have African and South African politics being of old men and old women.
Guys, epic stuff. You were speaking about rugby, soccer, South Africa as a whole. Have you guys watched Chasing the Sun too?
Yeah.
How nice.
Awesome.
I've caught the first 2. I still need to.
Yes, today.
No.
Don't get teary-eyed, hey. It gets hectic.
It gets proper.
Yeah. I mean, it makes you emotional.
It does.
Like Josh's shorts.
Yeah, it just makes you emotional. Yeah,
Winston's after me after that comment on his
Those are the
Instagram.
same
Like
shorts.
those shorts are
people-
tight.
the abusive relationship.
This is an abusive relationship right now. I didn't think there'd be this highlighted.
Abusive relationship,
Every time you sit down, they just ride up, eh?
What's crazy is let's just tell the viewers what happened with the abusive relationship. So I said our government treats us so badly. It's like we're in an abusive relationship. You know what I mean?
And then some
And
lady
then-
commented.
That jacket you wearing is in an abusive relationship.
The buttons on its last.
When people don't have answers, they target your.
That day
your
we're
looks.
driving back from Port Shepstone. I laughed all the way back to Durban because of that comment.
Guys, just let you know, I read the comments.
Yeah.
So go
please.
in. Go in. I love it. I'll respond where I can.
Oh.
You know?
Is there a place where you guys buy these shorts? 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't see them anywhere else besides on
So this is from Jet.
you, Ronaldo.
Oh,
They
that's
from-
a lie. There's no way you've been
13
in a
to
Jet.
14, bro.
You've never been
Where
in
you
a
talking
Jet
about
store.
13 to 14
You've
from, bro?
never been in a Jet store, bro.
13 to 14, bro. This is 13 to 14.
No ways.
So let me finish. These are from Jet, 13 to 14.
Tight car keys. bro.
They're called slim fit car keys. I just like the way they look, man.
Okay. All right. No.
Can you
And
tell
for
us
circulation, what do you do?
For circulation purposes, I just have to continuously open at the
Okay,
bottom.
okay.
If you don't, then it's just all about control.
All right,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah,
That makes
cool.
sense. Okay.
Can you
Thank
tell
you.
us about your tattoos, President? That one specifically looks so cool. Yeah, that one.
The chief.
It's just me, man. Just who I am. I've always, like I said, we've all had fascinations with different things in life. Tattoos have been some of them, and my tattoo journey started in 99.
I'm sure many people didn't know that you
99.
had though.
Yeah.
On my.
Or did
How
they
are we
say-
going to have a president with tattoos?
Aye, bro.
Hey, Chief, are you worried about tattoos or are you worried about power and
You
water?
gotta get things to be
you
done.
100%. Get your
And
story
this
straight.
was said by someone who is like a rapper, like a hardcore rapper. I'm like, okay,
geez.
You know,
guys.
people got to realize the world has changed.
Nasty C doing
Yeah,
on your
You
timeline.
know, I'm not advocating and promoting people must go and do and get tattoos and stuff, but the world has changed. You know, tolerance, understanding. People have got preferences, whatever those preferences are. As long as you're doing what you're expected to do and you're performing, it's all good. It's all good. You know,
That stereotype's broken
it's
a long time
it's
ago.
broken along. So it's a weak. It's a
For
weak.
sure.
It's a weak shot. Yeah, come on, man.
But no, but none of
we're
us have
talking
hit
about
the shots.
tattoos.
We were just asking.
No, I'm
about
saying
tattoos, though.
no. I'm responding to.
To the
To what
comments.
Winston
And
said.
I think why he's asking that now is because at the very start of our
He said he
podcast,
was
on
in
episode
I'm
2,
only asking
he
because
said
If
when
he's
we
done
reach
20,000,
10K,
he'll get it.
we're
till
like 400 away now.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
So
I'm
somebody's
checking
nervous.
Oaks out. I'm trying to see are we the same
And when you
skin
say tattoo,
color?
you can't be putting
What are we doing?
a phrase,
No,
bro.
you can't tell me what I can put on.
No, don't come with
No,
the
didn't he
hope.
say
He's going to put something like hope.
Didn't he say he's shooting a tattoo like Lil
No, I
Wayne,
didn't
a
say any of
teardrop?
that. I didn't say any of that. I said I'm going to put a period, full stop.
Oh, okay.
That's me.
Where?
I don't know yet.
Not you.
Yeah.
But that would be like a beat. I've got a period. V.
I've also got a...
Yeah, two
There
of
you go. There you go.
Those PT marks. No, G,
Yeah,
that
I'm
doesn't
just
count.
That's not a tattoo.
No,
bro.
guys, come on. I'm trying to see skin tone and how it's going to look.
Ah,
people-
boo, it's
Also-
got nothing to do with
Deontay
skin
Wilder's
tone.
darker than you, and he's got a full back.
Yeah, but I
chest.
also don't want to
There's no
look like
excuses.
I'm in the 25s.
We'll
These
just
are
use
the
Tipex.
Tipex.
We'll just use Tipex, bro. Don't worry.
Yeah, I
If
just
you don't
wanna
like
be-
the way it pops,
No,
use
just-
Tipex.
No, man. Come on, guys. This is a permanent fixture.
We should actually
Get a
decide
promo
what he
pull, Chief,
tattoos
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
As a
Samari.
It's a permanent
as a
fixture.
collective podcast, we should put it out there on Instagram. Don't come with full stop nonsense.
No,
that's not a tattoo.
That's
No,
not.
you
I agree
guys-
with you.
you
on
guys-
that
not
one.
a
Guys, you
tattoo.
can't
fully
tell me
agree.
what I can put on my beautiful body. That's number one. Let's just stop right there. Okay? I've got 4 arms.
You're the one that said you're going to get tatted up.
Nobody asked
The
him to do
man
that.
is
Yeah.
flexing. I got 4
I got
arms.
4 arms, yeah.
eh?
And this forearm needs attention, you know? So especially, you know,
Chief,
come on.
The right forearm is, but we'll
It's
Yes!
Okay, it is.
It's looking bigger
Yeah, that's
than-
because
looking
I'm
bigger
always
than the
opening
leg.
doors for people, guys. You know what I mean? I'm opening doors for
Okay,
people. That's why
okay.
this forearm is always bigger.
All right.
Yeah,
You say
see,
so.
I
dog.
know where you guys
say
are coming
G.
with
No,
that
no, I'm
one.
just saying, G.
I know where you're coming
Looking
with that
swole,
one.
and it's looking freshly swole, B. What's going on?
Thank you. Hey, please watch Chasing the Sun too. It's
This
a
man
cool-
has
it's a
been
cool thing.
eating the gym. Now he's
Yeah.
trying to act modest
No,
here in
I'm
front of
being
you
cool,
boys.
man. I'm being
Every single day, I just get my watch says Chaka just completed a
guys, yeah,
workout.
yeah.
Midnight, bro. Midnight. What gym's open at midnight? Chaka just completed a workout, hit
There's
training.
many ways to increase your cardio.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
many
I agree.
ways. So might as well get the benefits.
Yeah.
Lock
Okay.
it in. Just see how you've been performing.
Did
Check
you
the
tune
heart
into the
rate.
WrestleMania, guys?
Yeah, I did.
I know we spoke
I show
about
speed.
it off air.
I show speed. We're talking Roman Reigns.
No, but our show
Yeah.
speed is amazing, bro.
This the guy.
Amazing
he
how?
was in the prime.
Okay, what is
bottle,
he?
bro.
I mean, he just came in and.
No, but
come
I'm
on.
just saying the fact that he was there, it just goes to show how wrestling's pulled through the marketing side. Because now
No,
they've
no
even got
doubt.
streamers bang on. You know?
Hey,
but they
Logan
could've-
Paul, yeah, KSI, yeah, but I show speed's got like 25 million followers on Twitch or whatever.
Bro, he's
he
huge.
watches.
He's
Yeah,
got more
but-
followers than KSI on Instagram.
No, but like I'm just saying, like that's what he's known for.
Yeah.
yeah. But the game changer was that emotional run that we went through at the end when the guy started coming in. Undertaker was
No,
in
that was,
there.
that was dope.
That was insane. I was just waiting for Steve Austin.
Stone Cold.
He had his moment 2 years ago.
Yeah. They said that he didn't get enough money to participate.
No, I don't
The
think
offer
that.
wasn't
I
good
think
enough.
he's really looked back and like, yo, I'm
Yes.
past this.
way
And then the
beyond
reason why I always say to people that the greatest marketing machine in the world is
WWE.
WWE, hands
By
down.
far.
Production,
Storytelling.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was so shocked with our
Budgets.
show speed.
Storytelling, yeah.
and
Recruitment.
it's interesting. I think one of the main things was the Prime Bottle sponsorship.
In the middle
on the
and
middle
on the
of
side.
It's the first time in
ever.
in wrestling history, because I mean it's a boxing thing, it's an MMA thing where the sponsors put their branding on the mat, and there was Soul Prime
Oh, but that's-
branding. It speaks volumes.
That's
of where we're
Logan
at.
Paul as well. I
Yeah.
mean, he's been phenomenal in that space. I don't know about this Prime drink itself, but I mean, just the way that he's been.
It caused
It's
ruckus
been
in
out
the
there.
USA.
Yeah, but
Yes.
Prime is done.
At a
the
stage, it was
most,
like
even in
500 rand a
SA.
bottle,
Yeah,
eh?
yeah.
Now it's like
yeah.
5 for 50.
Yeah, but now
And
it's
Inflation,
for sale.
change of times.
And and why I raised the wrestling thing. I know people are like, but wrestling is fake and all that. But if you look at how the world has changed, how things are done, they're always at the forefront of it.
Always.
How the integration of what sports entertainment is and how it's brought in other entertainers. I mean, you look at the from WrestleMania 1, they've had the likes of the Muhammad Ali's, the B.A.
Yes.
Baracus's,
Floyd.
leading Floyd Mayweather,
Yeah.
Arnold
Jose
Schwarzenegger,
Mourinho.
Donald
Mourinho,
Trump.
Jose Mourinho.
Donald
Yes.
Trump.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
had Snoop
Donald
Dogg
Trump.
who keeps
Yeah.
Dog
coming
was
back.
there. He was there in
your
WrestleMania now.
Karl Malone.
Yo.
So you have, and this is what we're saying about the situation in our country. You've got the best of breed of everyone.
It's a Royal
Entertainment
Rumble.
space, sporting disciplines, business. You got young people pushing the bounds, and it is a Royal Rumble.
Royal
but where
Rumble.
we're at, there's an opportunity for all of us to come together and recreate. That's a formula that's out there. It's not, like we said, it's not rocket science. How does everyone come together to create this story that we can write and say, you know what? All these characters were brought from different places. Mohawks, underwear shorts,
Yeah.
swollen right forearms,
You know what I mean? Nostrils.
Abusive relationship.
outfits. How do we all come together?
Yeah, we'll
bring it together.
And then how do we
together.
make this thing work? Because the opportunity is there. Because it's no more a I wanted to say black and white, but people now come say
Oh,
all
here we
sorts of
go.
things. But it's the melting pot. And politics should be that melting pot where it doesn't matter where you're from, what you do, as long as you believe in the cause. And the cause is, we all believe in the same cause. Yeah, it's just who we're deciding to take us on that journey. And I can tell you, there are more people sitting in this country that do not have someone that they believe, or some people they believe that can take them forward. They don't have and it's not what we are saying, it's what the numbers say.
Yeah,
You
and
look at the stats.
That's the problem.
Now
with,
you're cutting people out and you're creating this bigger problem, which further says that as people that our administrators, you are worsening the problem. You're not making it better.
I won't lie, that's a major problem for, I'm sure, teenagers and millennials, us. We don't know who we're voting for on the 29th.
And people don't
we
want
have
to vote.
no clue.
They don't.
Yeah.
People just don't want to vote. They don't want to participate. A lot of people who say, "Oh, elections."
No.
Okay.
Like that.
And the most affected are the millennials and the younger crowd. Unemployment and everything that's happening.
So with that's the situation we're at now, and we gotta try and educate as many people as we can do.
Sure.
But we honestly don't know, because what it always just looks like is that it's us versus them. It's a complaint versus a
100%.
complaint. It's
The
you
usual
not
suspects,
doing this,
yes.
you know, and then you're like, well, flip, I don't know, you know, I don't know what to do. So, and I think that's what most of us are going through, and I think we need to see more. We need to see more people.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I think so.
There have to be more options, and this was that missed opportunity.
Yeah,
You know, we're not speaking about ourselves. You know, there's a whole host of other people. We need people to say, you know what? Here, there are people that we believe in. There are people that we like the look and feel. There are people that we like what we're hearing. Because right now, it's just the same old
Recycle.
cow manure. That's just what it is. You know, let's be real with the situation. You open up, you see what's being spoken about.
and you're like,
Bro, it's the same old. I don't care what other people are moving from where, what parties are being created. It's just breakaways of breakaways and speaking of the same thing. If you look at most political parties' manifestos on either side of the divide, exactly the same. I can guarantee you go onto allgamechangers.co.za, you will see that manifesto and you'll realize that this is the truth.
that video that you got there is powerful, man. Your guys who did it.
David, he's here.
Was it David? David, that was an amazing video, man. Guys, you must check it out. I checked it out. It's a sick video. With you coming in there, the suit, and you're sitting there. Yeah, I saw that. It was cool. Cool video.
Acknowledge me. We're the ones.
Yeah.
We're the ones. People want to hate on it, but we're the ones. And over the next few years, people will realize, okay, this is what these guys were talking about. And they'll jump on board, no doubt about it. You know, post this election, people will realize, you know what? We really need to switch things up because this is just, it's too much.
Okay, well, now that the playing fields are as they are for these elections, do you guys have any predictions? Know who's going to win this Royal Rumble?
This Royal Rumble's been won already.
You think so?
100%.
So you already know.
Yes.
But then there's other guys who are trying to be in the main event.
That's fine. Then they can do what they need to do.
But you already know who's winning this Royal Rumble on the 29th
Won already,
of May.
bro.
You think so?
Yes.
Damn.
I mean,
You're going to give us a name?
Yeah,
or?
of course. The AGC,
Of
dog.
course!
Come on, bro.
You guys are going to come in there like Brock
No,
Lesnar
you know,
at the end.
people need to understand. What happens at the electorate is immaterial. We're all clear on what's going to happen. Clear. Coalitions in one way or another. There'll be negotiations and people that acted like they hate each other will be all lovey-dovey. But at the end of the day, what's been happening for the past 2020, this year, for the past 30 years is going to remain.
It's going to continue.
Think so?
That's
People-
all.
Yes, and people will say no.
So where does that place us? As people are saying, guys, things need to change. And we're not the only ones. We've just been one of the few that have stepped up and have spoken the truth, are continuing on our mission. You know, there are people that have come and gone. A lot of people are disappointed, disheartened, are falling by the wayside. This is not for everybody. But if you think this is a free ride, you're coming here for positions, you're not welcome here, bro. Don't try that ish elsewhere.
Somewhere else.
Nah, it's not. This is not that usual political setup where you're going to come and dictate because of this and that. This is for people that are going to put their backs into it, that know what they need to do, and that know how to do it. It's not a free ride. If it means less people, then damn it, less people it'll be. But we're not going to be held ransom to people that are just coming in for show and dance. No, this is not it. So why we're the winners? It's because our ideology, our energy is exactly where South Africa is. And we are fortunate to be the very few people that have taken that bold step and have said, this is what it is. This is who we are. This is what we represent. And what we represent is what the majority of the country wants to see. The mistake people are making is they're trying to place us in the box, trying to see how this political dynamic plays out. That's not the case. We are not beholden to anybody. We're not being puppeteered by anyone. What you see is what you get. This is started from scratch, and we're willing to build this up from the ground up. People are going to jump on board, Those that won't, tough luck to them. But we will be here.
Before we wrap it up, they're going to ask us about that orange bandana. Do you want to tell us about it?
No, it's just
a cool Harley
Swags.
Davidson.
Yeah. He had to try and compete with the shorts, bro.
Right to some,
Just
this
wanted to
is
look a bit.
Cool. You're loving the motorbikes, eh? Still?
no always.
Always.
This is
Yeah.
I got this. So whenever you visit Oranje, they give you a bandana as they welcome you as an honorary.
You joking?
Yes,
No
I got
ways.
this. Yes, so
Eyes.
a lot of people
Oranje.
don't have. I'm one of the few.
No ways.
That was a joke.
Daniel would have been on top of you. Daniel would have been on top of you.
And
no
that-
chance.
No,
And
this
that's
is- this
and
is-
that
This
is
is
a
a
lie.
bandana. It is a Harley Davidson bandana, as you can see, and just orange. I like the color orange. I think it pops nicely with the black background.
Nice.
That's as simple as it is. What we should be talking about is your socks. That's what we should be talking about. There's more color happening there.
Thank gosh it's not the South African flag, because those are in an abusive relationship with these cars,
No,
bro.
man, the South
That
African
flag is stretched,
nah,
yeah, bro.
Come on, man. Come on. It's just
So
my
you're saying
cause.
that the South African flag on his cars end up looking like the pride flag?
Yeah,
That's how stretched out.
That's what happens.
That's what-
Gets translated.
It gets right.
What a beautiful sit down,
Yeah,
guys.
man.
Thanks for
Great
always
sit
having
down.
us here.
Thank you very
and,
much.
thanks for giving us your time.
No.
I believe time is value, and you guys have shared some of that with us over and over again. So thank you.
Yeah, and it's just nice to know that, the AGC is still in action.
No,
There's
we're
still
not
stuff
going
happening.
Still a long way to go.
30th
We
of May,
said-
you said you're continuing, which is awesome.
Like we said, they are not ready for us. They're not.
We are here to stay.
You'll see what happens
see.
post this election. You'll be like,
Beautiful.
oh, this is what these guys are speaking about. All
Yeah.
these guys that are running around helter
On
skelter,
record.
Yeah.
they know where they need to come to.
Nice, guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is what it is, guys.
It is what it
We're
is.
the new.
Mm.
That's what's up.
No, it's
Great chat, man.
it's fun and I'm excited. Buoyed, positive, super optimistic on where we're going to as a country with these elections, with us being kept off the ballot and everything. This is all happening for a reason. We're not disheartened. Disappointed. Yes, we'd love to have been there to show them that we would have made it past that 2 million mark, but it is what it is. We'll catch it next time.
Yeah.
But for now, tune in. That's just that's all I can say. The road's not over. We're not going anywhere. So I need to change that. That's a no Diddy thing.
The road.
We are still here.
We got a bit nervous. We got a bit nervous.
Anything you say.
Going nowhere.
I got a bit nervous there,
I saw
bro.
this, I saw
No
this.
Diddy.
But with
Thanks,
those
guys.
shorts, I don't know. There's more.
Now he's looking at my thigh after saying a Diddy quote, bro. I believe this is not right. I need to go.
With those no Diddy shorts, dog.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Nah, cheers.
Thanks,
Nice one,
guys.
nice one.
Cheers.